Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy Jack here at the Irish Hotspur, joined by Ellie and Sean, very familiar faces this time. And we are going to be finding Tongi Ndombele a home. We are going to get him a place where he can continue his football career long and very far away from Tottenham Hotspur. We also are going to be discussing those Richarlison news that have just come in, very much breaking news. So making a bit of kind of a U-turn sort of in the show. We're still going to be finding that home for Tongi, but don't you worry, we're also going to be covering the Richarlison news as well. But we are greeted by a good panel, and we have Amir coming in very, very soon. Ellie, how are we doing, though?
Very well. Thank you, Jack. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate that.
Of course. And Sean, how are we doing from Spurs Talk Show? And I feel like, hopefully you have good rest, for this one, Sean, because you've been going on some marathons recently.
No, I actually just came off the football terrace. I went from one to another. One legend football terrace to another one of the IrishHotspur. I'm good, Jack. I've always got stamina for this channel. I absolutely adore you and the channel itself. So thank you for having me. Hope everyone's doing okay.
Appreciate you both, giving up your time and, coming on and joining the Harris Army tonight, joining the Flat Cap Army. We do have Rob Coyne in the house, everybody. While you're on in here, please smash that like button. We are, again, going to be having a very, very fun stream. No, not as much transfer related. I feel like the transfers are hot and heavy, but we're going to kind of be discussing, some other things, which I think people would be nice kind of into, just a bit of a change of pace. So everybody, hopefully you do enjoy, and it's really good to see you in here, Rob Coyne. Tottenham Gold saying, looking forward to a brilliant stream as always with all the stats from Jack and the Irish passion from David. David is, he's resting his passion this weekend, Dermot. He's, getting it ready for next time. Big up KPV in the house. Good to see you, my man. We also have Dan Coy saying, good evening, David and Jack. Movie night with the family on the TV tonight, but when the Irish Hotspur is live, can't help but put in the earphone and listen. Wow, Dan, way too kind to us, my man. Way too kind to us. Hopefully, you don't accidentally, respond, to us while the movie is happening, at an awkward stage. You don't want to, give any clues as to what you're doing there, Dan. Big up, my man. Welsh Cal in the house as well. Good to see you. Absolute legend. Mark is in here. Good to see you, Mark. Ricky saying big up, everyone. NJ123, evening, everyone. Big up, guys. Good to see you, NJ. Elias is in the house. Big up, everyone. David and Jack, is it true that Ndombele is going to Galatasaray? Sean, Turkey? Does that maybe seem like the right destination for someone like a Tongi Ndombele? It seems to fit.
Well, there's certainly plenty of lovely kebab shops that he can frequent at every corner.
Plenty of clubs with horrible wage bills and,
Yeah, listen. Perfectly. Yeah. I think that I don't know, man. We'll talk about it, I guess. But guys, I don't know much about the Turkish league. I don't know whether it's somewhere that players think highly of or not so highly of. I don't know, but there's definitely noise out about that one. So come and use Coys with the heart. I don't know, but we'll talk about it. I guess it's one of the options.
Talk about it. We'll find him a home. Yeah. Big up, Elias. John Stokes in the house. Good to see you, John. And we also have Oliver Norbra saying apparently Ndombele has agreed a loan move to Galatasaray. I've just been trying to find this in the news. I have yet to see this, so perhaps
all
this
was
Twitter. Done maybe too late.
Yeah.
Albeit Twitter, maybe.
There's a big Turkish. I've got the link here. Where is it? I can put it in the chat to you, but it won't help because it's all in Turkish. But there's basically a Turkish account that has like 300,000 followers. There's a football account, and their language, like their tweets, are all obviously in the Turkish language. But it was shared by Spurs Express, and from that's where the links come from.
There you are, everybody. So perhaps, he is finding his own home in the case of, Galatasaray. 164 Spurs says, big up, guys. Come on, you Spurs. There's still plenty of other things to talk about. But I don't think that Tongi situation is still fixed, everybody. I'm pretty sure we're going to fix it ourselves. Big up, John. Good to see you. Rob Coyne with the super chat saying, buy yourself a pint. Watching us beat Kerry tomorrow. Hope Tottenham tour North America next preseason times are good. Been a big up, Rob Coyne. And honestly, hopefully you're enjoying, the movie night. And then on top of that, like I said, Kildare, absolute bottle jobs. And it was the first bit of Gaelic football I've ever watched. Probably maybe the last bit of Gaelic football I'll ever watch, maybe, Rob. But that game that I did watch between Mayo and Kildare, absolute bottle jobs that Kildare were, Rob. So honestly, Dave is probably still a bit embarrassed about that performance, my man. Big up, Rob. I do really appreciate support as well, my man. And thank you for the pint, brother. Really do appreciate it. Carl Higgins saying, I didn't want him at first, but listening to all the talk, I feel sure that this is the one for us. Even at 70 million, we will be getting into that, Carl. Don't you worry. Patty Higgins in the house. And I saw your comment in the beginning, Patty, saying couple of Zilpdom, a duct tape, and a van, and I'll get rid of Ndombele. No, Tottenham Hotspur HR department have firmly declined this offer on more than one occasion. Patty, you're just trying to be a good Samaritan, my man. You're just trying to be a good Samaritan, and they're not letting you. Big up, Scott. Good to see you. Just making sure we do have a few in the house that are piling in. So everybody, I will try to get your names up on screen, but we are going to get the show started. R Green, good to see you as well. And then we do have Anthony Gray. Good to see you, Anthony. Chris, always good to see you, Chris. Maybe the second favorite Winky lover in the house as well. Big up, Chris. And then as well, Ian Nicholson. Everybody, while you're in here, do smash that like button. Do hit that subscribe if you are new to the Irish Hotspur. If you do want to stop the show at any stage, feel free to throw it in with the super chat. It's a great way to stop at any stage. You know what we might be talking about contributes to the conversation. If you want to get your say in, maybe you just disagreed with what I have to say. Maybe you feel like Ellie, needs, a bit more, Hoiberg praise or whatever it may be. Feel free to throw it in a super chat. It's a great way to support the channel. But we are going to get started, everybody, on the Richarlison news. And, Everton supposedly are now expecting a bid from Spurs for Richarlison, Ellie. We are basically negotiating the possibility to make a bid. And it seems like, maybe Richarlison is in fact the one that Spurs are going for, maybe more than Rafinha. Is Richarlison, is this someone that you're happy about? Are you, disappointed? Thoughts on the player?
He's a very versatile player, Jack. So it's a good buy, and he can fit in. And I think he's one who's going to fight for his place as well. He's not just going to turn up 70 million player and expect to be sitting on the bench. So he'll be trying to impress Conte, getting in his ear. He's got a bit of shithousery. Probably trip over a few players in training as well. But the thing is, he's a good player. He is a very good player. Technically very gifted, very strong, can score goals, can assist goals. So, yeah, I would have preferred Rafinha, to tell you the truth. But if we get them both over the line, that would be my dream. And Hakimi, if we get Hakimi
now, Ellie. I mean, this is a long shopping list, and we got to start with Rafinha, or we got to start with Richarlison. We're yet to get
Richarlison. I think he'll be a very good buy because he can score goals, and he's going to be in a better team with better players, so he'll get fed the ball a lot more than he did at Everton. Because at Everton, he was their main man, and when Calvin Lewin was injured for so long, he took up the responsibility of making them stay up.
You're right.
So,
he had no help this season from Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah, he did. He done very well for them.
He didn't have a lot of help with Rafa Benitez either, or Fat Frank Lampard, being his coach. So, he actually had a lot, against him this season, Ellie.
Yeah.
Just quickly, some people accuse him of being a hothead. Do you think he's, a hothead in the right ways and the wrong ways? What do you make of that?
I like a hothead. I've said it before. I like a hothead. Somebody who gets into the opposition. You need players like that in your team, Jack. You need players that get under the, under the skin of the opposition.
Right.
Show them that you're there. You're not just there on the pitch to lose or to draw. You're there to win. And I like his attitude. He's a fighter.
Right.
We need players with a lot of spirit, and he can give us that.
Exactly. Do you feel like, Sean, same question to you? Is he a hothead in the right ways and the wrong ways? What are your thoughts on that kind of attitude kind of point with Richarlison?
Look, Bob Spur from Bob Spur TV twisted my arm a little bit over the last couple of weeks with his take on Richarlison. He thinks that his shithousery style of football can maybe the way that he goes about it, the way he can draw free kicks, the way that he can wind people up, get yellow cards here, get red cards there, from the way that he behaves. Maybe that kind of behavior can help Tottenham. Should we have somebody who's a free kick specialist next summer? Yeah. And that wouldn't necessarily be represented in his stats from Everton over the last couple of seasons. So, and I liked what Bob Spur was saying about it. So he has twisted my arm a little bit. He's warmed me up a little bit to the Richarlison signing. I'm not opposed to signing Richarlison. Of course, it comes down to if Conte really wants him, then I trust him more than I trust my own, somewhat naive opinion. However, does it excite me thinking that the club record signing, which is what Tottenham would have to pay to get Richarlison in all likelihood, does that, to me, excite me that we're going to have a player who's not going to play any more than 50% of the games, and yet he's going to sit on the bench half of the season and yet be the club's record signing. It would be great to be able to not have Ndombele as the club record signing, but if we're going to have a new club record signing, I'd rather it not be Richarlison. I'm okay with it in summary, Jack. I'm okay with us going for him. I'm just not blown out. I'm not going to be like...
It's not your favorite. It's not, it's not the one that makes you giddy, sort of player. I see where you're coming. I see where you're coming from on that one. To be fair, though, like when it comes to that attitude kind of portion of Matt Hayes and everybody from Matt Hayes' channel, really do appreciate you tuning in. Really do appreciate you guys tuning into this one. We're basically just chatting Richarlison. Everything that Matt was just giving you about the deal, we're essentially just talking about what he more or less maybe we think could bring to Spurs, or even maybe asking the panel whether they're even maybe happy with that potential signing coming in. And we do have our fourth panelist who maybe we can get his thoughts on the situation all the way out in Israel. We got our man Amir. How we doing?
How's everyone doing tonight? Sorry about the delay, Jack. Sorry about
that. My bad. We built the anticipation for you. I told you, you were coming, Amir, so they've just been waiting for you, building up the anticipation finally. And Richarlison is sort of the news because Spurs are kind of expected to be making a bid, this maybe next week, Amir. And I'd like to think that since it's maybe Paratici running it, it's not going to be too much haggling, hopefully, over the price. Do you feel like Richarlison, is this someone you're excited about? Is this someone, you'd be happy with? Or is this someone maybe you're not so excited about?
So it's definitely a signing that will bolster the squad. Am I overjoyed by it? I can't say I am, because I've always said that I'm waiting for the big marquee defender signing, and that's what will make me feel a bit more confident going into the next season. I feel like we have the goals with Song, with Kane, with Kulu. So for me, it will be a good addition as long as the price is right, and maybe we're moving a Winky in a different direction. It could be a good deal, but I'm just not sold on him. I'm not fully sold on him, to be honest. 7 goals from open play all of last season. Is that enough? I don't know. Not for 50 million.
And I was asking the question with Richarlison, he has that sort of, kind of attitude issue, right? And some people think he has the right kind of attitude problems. He's a hothead in the right way, Amir. Would you think, he's actually a hothead in the wrong way? Maybe you don't like that attitude that he has.
I think the jury's out, because sometimes you can take it, like when Dele Alli had his mean streak in him when he first came into the team. That seemed to help his game, and then when it was taken away, he basically became a sap, and didn't do anything for us.
Good point. Really good point.
Good point. Yeah.
I think the jury's out on Richarlison. To be honest with you. Yeah, he did, didn't he? And he
did.
His footballing's done, isn't he?
He became a wimp.
Yeah. And that's not what
he's actually probably the guy that winds you up the most, because he's kind of that one that will throw an elbow into your stomach and then also flop in the box, at the same time. He's that kind of, wind up. It's not really, though, a player that we feel like we want in our team, though, because he's the definition of that player that seems like everybody hates. And then once he's on your team, everybody loves him. Maybe, I don't know, am I crazy here, Sean? Is like Romero a good version of that? Maybe a player that probably every other opposition hates, but we just absolutely love. Could Richarlison be like a Romero?
I think Eric Lamela is probably the better more recent comparison. Yeah. Because I think Romero usually does what he does. I mean, he might get it wrong occasionally, but he gets it right more often than not. Eric Lamela would throw the elbow or do the shithousery. I remember the game against Manchester United a couple of seasons back when we won 5-1 at Old Trafford, and it was 1-1 or 1-0 to them or something at the time when he wound up I forget who it was, and got them sent off. At that point, the commentators for Sky Sports always hated him because of that, because how much they love Manchester United. But personally, I feel like it's an asset. It's an asset, but is it? It can go wrong as much as it can go right. Richarlison could get sent off as much as he could get another player sent off. Yeah. I don't know if it's an asset that we should be going after. If the player has playing attributes that are super desirable, and then the baggage that comes along with that is a volatility that can either go one of two ways. Then you can take or leave that based on how much you really want the player. But if we're looking at the player and thinking we need him because he's all right, but also he's got this shithousery about him, I don't think the shithousery personally is a value-adding asset. I think it's something that has its own.
It can almost detract even at times.
It could detract, right? So I'd rather like look at the guy and think, how much does he add, and how much does that value or liability cost on your analysis of him of what he can bring as a player. And for me as a player, look, like I say, I think he's a good player. If Conte wants him, I'm happy to have him, not because of his shithousery, in spite of it. But if Conte doesn't want him, or if it means that we're spending too much money, then it's a no from me anyway, even in spite of the other things that he does with his elbows or whatever it is.
There's another thing to consider. That there's another kind of thing to consider with Richarlison. In a World Cup year, will he really be happy sitting on the bench and coming on only for League Cup games and, you know, the odd subs appearance when he wants to be in that Brazil first 11? I don't know.
It's potentially the case, though, Amir, that he might like play every game at least. Like he might even come off in the 70th minute, you know, for somebody. That he might feature almost in every game. It's just depending on how many minutes he'll actually get is the big question.
Whose dog is that? It's not Bugsy Malone.
It's somebody in my garden. He's always barking. I can shut the window in a minute.
Yeah, I think we can hear it. Sorry about that.
Can I add something to this? I'd like to add something. Basically, there's good shithousery and there's stupid shithousery, right? The sort of shithousery that Romero's got is good because he knows how to use it.
Yeah, okay.
And he'll stare a player out once he's won the ball off him. He'll give him a bit of the eye, yeah. But then there's stupid. Sometimes Richarlison has got a little bit of stupidness in him. So we got to make Conte will work on that. He'll say to him, "Look, do a bit of this, but don't go over the top, because we don't want to be losing and going down to 10 men. You know, which can lose you a lot of matches."
He doesn't get many red cards, though. He doesn't get many red cards. He's kind of like Lamella. Doesn't. He's like a Lamella. He gets the nasty yellow. He gets the nasty yellow, and then that's it.
But I think a lot of teams are going to be gunning for us next season because we're being very ambitious. So we've already signed Perisic and Basuma, two fantastic signings, I must say. So a lot of teams will be out for us, you know, because they're going to try even harder against us. Because everybody's thinking, oh, Spurs are a soft touch. We're not going to do the shithousery. But now we've got two players that can do it, you know, but we've got to be smart with it. We've really got to use it in the right way.
Yeah, we do have to be smart about it. Absolutely. Well said, Ellie. Wolf Mallard just grabbed the Flat Cap membership. Appreciate that, Wolf. Hopefully things are all good in the West Coast, my man. And I must say today is finally a hot day over in New York. I've actually been asking for a hot day. I've finally been given one. Hopefully you've been given one too, Wolfie, but really do appreciate the support, brother. Just kind of, you know, quickly, I don't know, maybe just I feel like with what Spurs maybe are looking for in Richarlison is the fact that maybe he offers something slightly different to a Harry Kane, because that's what I'm now wondering is we're going to have to come to terms with the fact that Spurs are getting maybe Richarlison, or at least really serious about getting Richarlison. So then I'm wondering, what is it maybe about the player that has like, you know, maybe excited, you know, them? What is it that he's bringing that they think he does? Is it the versatility? Is it really just that? Is it perhaps like the fact that he can just play three positions, Amir? Is that maybe what, you know, Spurs like about him? Is that, you know, maybe they can kill two birds with one stone, you know, with that sort of signing?
I think it has a lot to do with it. I think it has a lot to do with his versatility, his hold-up play. You know, apart from his shithousery and that, the things we've already spoken about, he's got some very unique qualities as a striker. He's very good at holding the ball up, which obviously playing in Kulu, Song, Kane, he should be, you know, fit right into that role. And the fact that he can play along all the front three there, that is also a big bonus for sure. It would be a very interesting signing for us, that's for sure, because it's the first time that we'd have somebody as an extra striker who's really going to push Kane hard. So maybe that's also another factor, you know. Whereas if we brought in someone like the Ketelaere or Dennis or somebody with not as much experience, you know, they might be benched a lot more than somebody like Richarlison, who will fight for every single minute on the pitch.
Yeah, but maybe that's what they want, is just knowing that someone who won't really sulk around, you know, even with the minutes that he might be given. I don't know. Ellie, do you think the dog might be barking for the rest of the show?
Yeah, what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn my camera off and shut the window.
I would appreciate it.
Just bear with me.
Ellie. No, thank you very much. Thank you very much. You know, Sean, you know, just, you know, to wrap up this Richarlison thing, is that really what it is for you? Just versatility? Spurs just like that. Makes sense. You know, they get a lot of more value for their money potentially with Richarlison. Sorry, Sean, I think you're on mute.
Can't hear you, Shawnee.
Sorry, guys. I think they get more value for their money than they would do with Rafinha. But I would say that, you know, I'm not a massive fan of either of them. Jack, we've spoken about this before.
Interesting. Like, what don't you like about Rafinha? Like, what's kind of the turn off there?
I think he is. I think he's just a slightly better version of Lucas Moura. I think he's like, you know, he's more tricky than Lucas Moura. He might have a little bit of a better final ball. You know, he's a bit like an Adama Traore. To me, they're all kind of divisive. And I think that for 50, 60, 70 million quid, whatever it's going to cost, I've said this ad nauseum now. I just feel like, I don't know how much money we have, but for me, we are not focusing in the areas that we need to focus on. Go and spend massive money, whatever money it takes, on something that really gets me excited at right wing back. Go and spend big money on, I don't know, go back to Frankfurt and get, you know, a 50 million quid double deal, 60 million quid double deal, whatever it costs for Kostic and for Ndicka. Like, go and figure out the wing back spots in a big way. At the moment, we've made a really good start with Perisic, but he's 33. You don't know if can he really play 40, 50 games if Sessegnon's injured. It's too much for a risk. Is Jed Spence, even if Jed Spence happens, like, that doesn't excite me. For me, those two pivots, mate, are far more important. So for me, talking about whether we spend 60 million quid on Richarlison or 60 million quid on Rafinha, like, they're conversations that I want to be having once we've got the big money done on the positions that matter. I don't want to see us go and drop 60 million on Richarlison. I don't think he's that good a player. I know a lot of people do. I'll be in the minority. I just don't think he's that good of a player. I think Rafinha is a very good player, but he's not like 60 million quid better than what we already have in Lucas Moura. Like, they're good players, but they're not where we need to spend our time right now. We'll come back to that role. We'll go and get the right wing back done and pay whatever it is. Get it done. Then go get left back. Then get left-sided centre back. And then whatever's left over, if there's still 60 million quid left over after all of that, then I'm happy for us to go and drop it on Richarlison. Until then, if you want to get the forward thing done, like I've said to you a million times, Jack, go and get someone like Emmanuel Dennis. He might not excite us, but for me, his stats have proven the test of time. I just think we're focusing in the wrong areas. That's what I'm saying.
I might, you know, I think a lot of Rafinha fans, you know, might, you know, want to disagree with you there. And I might be one of those Rafinha fans, because I do feel like he probably is actually worth 65 million to whatever team, you know, want his services. If you ask me, I think he's probably top 3, maybe right wingers in the league, you know, to be fair. You know, I think that's how high I really rate him. So I think he could be up there for, you know, 60,
how highly do you rate Kulusevski?
This is kind of where my problem is, Sean. Like, I think we all really, really love Kulusevski, but I almost feel like if you brought in a Rafinha, it'd be interesting to see, you know, who kind of wins out that sort of battle. Like, I don't know if it's like automatically the case that Kulusevski is right now a better player than Rafinha. You could make the case that Rafinha could, you know, maybe challenge Kulusevski for a lot of minutes, which is kind of the reason why I like Rafinha, because he could be, maybe he's worth 65 million to me, Sean, because he could potentially be actually an upgrade on the right wing spot. And I know that's scary to say because we love our ginger from Sweden.
Yeah, but that's, you know, okay as well. But that's like it's like a kid in a candy shop. Like, you've got, it's like saying, you know, you've got a wonderful car and you're going to go and put the best tires on the car. But you know what? There's a big gaping hole in the exhaust pipe. There's a giant hole in the oil engine. Like, for me, the right wing back, if you've got $5,000 left to fix your car, don't go and buy tinted windows. Don't go and improve areas where you're already solid. Go and fix the areas that are problems. I'm not saying that the right wing back. I'm not saying that Rafinha would be a bad. Of course, he'd be great.
We're doing this all in the wrong order. Yeah, we're doing
exactly.
This
That's what I'm trying to say. That's all I'm trying to say.
Do you feel like that's the case, Amir? Are we doing this? Are we tinting the windows before the wheels are even on?
I think it is the case, to be honest with you, and I've been saying it as well as Shawnee. That the fact is, we got to look at solidifying that defense, and for that, a right wing back is needed. And a couple of centre backs, really. If we really want to push on and challenge for trophies next season. Do I think we need a extra striker? Yes. Do I think we need someone more creative, a creative midfielder, or someone along the likes of Rafinha? Yes. But I think we can do it in a little bit of a smarter way. Than just splashing 50, 60, 70 million on these people now that are being talked about, the Richarlisons and the Rafinhas of the world. I personally would think that, looking at the front and the creative midfielder, we could get Eriksen, De Ketelaere or Dennis and a Manuel Solomon type player in for around 40 million.
To be more savvy. Yeah, you want to be more savvy.
A little bit more savvy, and then spend big on the back. I have no problem with spending the 50, 60, 70, even 80 million on the players at the back. Hakimi, would I pay 75 million or 70 million for getting someone like that in? Yes, because that's gonna fit straight. He's gonna fit straight into the Conte system, and gonna be an amazing player for us. Rafinha for 60 million, he's a fantastic player. I'm with you, Jack, on that he's a brilliant player, and he's got a great career
I'll
ahead
put you
of
both
him.
on that as well. I love them all.
Yeah.
Prioritize,
Yeah.
guys.
Exactly.
And what you're trying to say is that's not my 65 million. You're trying to say, Sean, that's not where my 65 million goes. If I had to pick where it goes, it's not where I'm putting it. And that's an understandable thing. Do you feel like, Ellie, you agree with Sean's analogy? Like, we're tinting the windows before the wheels are even on the car. Do you kind of agree with him?
I agree
going
with
about it
Sean.
the wrong order.
I agree with Sean that we should go, maybe because Dennis has got better stats, right? So and he's had 1 year, but the stats before that weren't so hot. But he's proved it in the Premiership with a failing side, so you've got to give him props for that. But I'm with Amir as well. We've got to strengthen that left centre back and the centre back positions.
Yeah.
Because defences win leagues. It's proven. Look, Liverpool went and got Van Dijk. They won the league. They won the Champions League as well. We've got to do the same. We've got to take a leaf out of their book. If Liverpool know how to prioritise the positions they're going for, it looks like we're trying to mix and match and then go for the big target. We should get the big target in first, in case the other ones fall through, because the transfer market is volatile. You don't know which player's going to which club, who's going to outbid you. So you've got to be a step ahead of your opponents to get the players in. Now, we targeted Bastoni. Why aren't we going for Bastoni? I know Paratici's in Italy at the moment. If he's not going for Bastoni and he's going for Zaniolo, whatever his name is, we don't need him. We don't need that player. We need Bastoni or Bremer or both. That's what
Brains McLeod agreeing with you here, Sean. He said 200% agree with Sean, right on the money. I feel like I'm crazy, or it's me and Butler are crazy, looking around like, what the F? We need wing backs, Klaus, Singo, Hakimi, and we need Kostic. And I feel like that's what maybe the whole panel is sort of agreeing on. And I might be the one person that might not be on the same page here, where I'm actually kind of happy that we're tinting these windows, before the car is even assembled. I like a good tinted window, to be fair. But I can't even disagree, because
that's because no one could see it and see the disastrous state of the inside of your car.
But it's not good when three of the panelists seem to, all agree with each other, and I kind of, coming from a different stance on it, might need to rethink this here. Moondog saying good evening.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, mate.
No, I just want to say hello to Moondog, and backwards there, more backwards. Black Cap Army, there you are, Moondog.
Nice.
Good to see you,
I like
brother.
the beautiful bit.
It's actually, different style than how Bob Spur does it. A different style, everybody's beautiful in Moondog's eyes. Everybody's beautiful. Big up,
Yes.
Moondog. I do appreciate it. And everybody, I think there's still 300 plus in the house right now. So do smash that like button. Get in your super chats if you feel like you need to get your point in, on the panel, because we are going to, I think, sort of kind of maybe wrap things up on Richarlison. I'm just going to ask one last question here. And it's not exactly about Richarlison. It's just more about, are we maybe okay with 5, kind of attackers, or do we feel like, 6 attackers might be necessary for next season? Because Bergwijn is going to be out the door, Ellie. Do you feel like we need to get another, kind of player, a Bergwijn replacement, if you will?
Yeah, we do. Because we're not even sure about Moura
We still need to get another, even with Richarlison.
Yeah,
maybe sign
and that
another.
Kalajdzic would fit the bill, either him or Dennis. But I think Kalajdzic, he offers something different, like I said on your last show, on the member show. He offers something different off the bench, and he's the sort of player who won't mind sitting on the bench, who won't mind playing the League Cup games. Whereas a top striker, we're going to have to pay an awful lot of wonga to get that top striker in, and it's going to detract from the other targets that we need. If we're going to buy Richarlison for 60 million, there's not much more in the pot, so we've got to prioritise where we're going to place our money. And I believe Kalajdzic is not going to cost much. So, he's 6'6", isn't he? So, the last 6'6" players we had, we've done very well with them.
Yeah.
So, and I was on Will Stewart's show last night, and he said that these sort of players, they can be taught technique, and Conte's the best at coaching players, and he'll get the best out of him. He'll make him into a better player than he is currently.
Interesting. I can't disagree with that, especially when it comes to, Antonio Conte and how he can improve players. Do you feel like, Amir, do we need to get in another player, like a Bergwijn replacement would still be needed? Since he is headed out the door, do we still need to then get in another body, when it comes to the attacking line?
I think we do. I think we need someone who's young and whose ceiling's still very high, but has that quality and those factors that Conte is looking for in a player. For me, it's a bit of a shame that Stevie B's leaving. I know he hasn't had the best of times with us, but I just think there's a real player in there. The way he performs for Holland, the goals that he scored for us last minute against Leicester. I know the ball sometimes does run away from him, and he's a bit scatty on the ball sometimes. But I think that there's a real player in Stevie B, and he's been a bit unlucky with injuries and stuff. So if we're getting in a replacement for him, I'd like to see someone who can hit the ground running and challenge for time on the pitch and can get in there. Yeah, for sure.
And Sean, do you feel like 6 attackers is that necessary, or do you think we could get away with maybe having 5 attackers?
And by 6 you mean if we sell a
Bergwijn, right now if we
Moura
sell Bergwijn,
and then sign 2 more.
So essentially, you keep Moura, you buy Richarlison. If you still have Richarlison and Moura, you have 5 attackers. 5 for the front line.
Yeah.
Do you feel like we still need another one? Because Bergwijn would be out the door. Do you think you need an extra one? Basically 6 attackers, 3 to if it were 3-4-3, 3 to fill in that, that
maybe 3. Maybe not. I probably.
I know because we're tinting windows right now, Sean.
Yeah, but now we're upgrading our wing mirrors to have a little bit of
aerodynamics.
I don't know what the hell's going on here.
Putting the trims on the tyres.
If the question, if essentially what you're saying is, do we need Richarlison and Rafinha? Well, that's going to cost 110 million. Hell no. Hell no. Do we spend 110 million pound of our precious transfer budget on 2 players that are only going to play 30-40% of the games? Even if Rafinha comes in and does, and outclasses Kulusevski. Kulusevski can play behind Harry Kane. There's no need for all that stuff. If you need to get one, fine. But for the love of God, you don't get 2 when you still got gaping holes. We're literally throwing bricks into tiny cracks in our squad when there's gaping holes elsewhere, and we're papering over them or not even worrying about them.
Surely,
I can't.
Would you take the 110 though and splash it right now on, say, a Kostic and a Hakimi?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I'd go and spend 50,
Yeah,
60. Wait a minute,
that's sexy.
60 million quid. Go to Frankfurt and say, here's 60 million quid, 65. I'll give you 65 just for saying, thanks for doing business with us. And we'll take Ndicka and Kostic. And then we're good. Then we're good.
That makes too much sense, though. That's too prioritized. That's too orderly, Sean. That's too orderly.
Yeah. You know what I do the more to order the hell out of it? I then go to Torino and say, hey, you know how you're waiting for Inter to shit or get off the pot with all the other stuff they're doing? I know how you've agreed 22 million quid or 25 million for Bremer. Well, here's 35 million quid. How about you stop worrying about them, deal with us, let's take Bremer in, right? Then you've got 100 million quid spent. You've overspent, but you still only spent 100 million quid, and your defense is settled for the next 6 years, 5 years. Your left wing back is settled for the next 5 or 6 years. Then all you got to go and do is think about your right wing back. All this, let's go and spend 100 million. Let's go and get Rafinha and Richarlison. Nonsense. We'll get one of those deals over the line, not both. One maybe later. Right now, let's focus in other areas. I don't know how much more I can say it, how louder I can say it, Jack. I'm very passionate about this. I
can't wait for this next question because it's just going to transition us perfectly. Because we gave you all the tinted window questions. Now we're actually going to talk about the car for once, and it almost disappoints me, to be fair. Tottenham Gold with the super sticker, and it's just that the adorable fox, going back and forth. Appreciate you, Dermot, and everybody keep getting in the comments, keep hitting that like button, keep hitting the sub as well if you are new to the Irish Hotspur as well. Seems like some Chelsea fans, are talking about Curry. I would say keep it football related, but at the end of the day, guys, keep it civil, and you will all be happy at the end of the day. Keep getting in the super chats as well if you do want to stop the panel at any stage or get your points, across to us. But, finally, we can talk about, seems like what Sean, Amir, and Ellie and Brains McLeod have all been wanting to talk about, which is actually the positions we do need. But, Sean, maybe what this question is more or less saying is, I have now just spent all of my money on the tinted windows, and now all I have left is money for Jed Spence. Is that okay with you? Would that be? Could we actually? Can Conte succeed with only Jed Spence and Perisic next season as the new wing back?
To quote the great man Harry Redknapp, you don't put diesel in a Ferrari. And that is what we'll be doing if we start the season with Doherty, Jed Spence, Perisic, and Sessegnon. As much as I love Perisic, as much as I like Sessegnon, he's the most injury-prone left wing back in the Premier League history, I think, or at least in the Premier League right now. Perisic is 33 years old, wonderful talent, wonderful player. I've got no argument with him being in the starting 11, but can he play 40, 50 games if Sessegnon's injuries reoccur time after time? And they probably will, because they happen to be in the most reoccurrent part of your body when it comes to footballers' injuries in the hamstring. So that's what I'm saying. We need definitely to get somebody else on the left wing back to help out, unless Reguilon's staying. And if Reguilon is staying, then so be it. That's okay. I don't mind having Perisic, Sessegnon, and Reguilon. I'd rather one of them go and we improve. But if not, that's okay too. On the right, we don't know what sort of Doherty we're going to get back. We've got no idea what he's going to how he's going to return from his injury. Jed Spence is a lottery ticket. We just don't know whether he's going to be the winning lottery ticket or one that gets you 3 numbers and gets you your money back, or one that gets you like a little bit of a bonus, but nothing that's going to really change anybody's life. And Emerson Royale looks like he's leaving anyway. So at the moment, if those names that you've got on your list there, Jack, are our starting wing backs next season, even if you keep Emerson Royale into it, I'm terrified. That's going to be a really disappointing season.
On a scale of that's a good answer. Terrified is a good answer. It sounds like that's not a good answer, to be fair. To with maybe what we're looking to improve the squad with. Amir, are you also terrified? This is the scenario.
I'm not terrified, but I'm getting jittery.
Happy. You don't sound happy.
The jitters.
Yeah, I'm getting the jitters, Ellie. Exactly. I'm getting the jitters because I'm seeing the right moves with Perisic and Basuma and the keeper coming in. But for me to not have the jitters, it would have been boom. Bastoni's in 75 million. That's done. We've got our marquee signing. We've got someone to solidify that defense. We've got someone to partner Romero and Dyer. And the wing-back position, all this talk with Spence, and I've had quite a few looks at his videos and stuff. He looks like a tricky customer. He looks like somebody who who, you know, you might hit the jackpot on, but you just never know. When you spend that £1 on a lottery ticket, it could either come in or it could just go down the drain. So we really don't know with the likes of Spence. Whereas if we did put the big cash in for a big right wing back to come in, that would also settle my jitters.
Okay. Do you feel like, you know, is it Jed Spence? Is that we're just putting too much faith in the kid to be, you know, just because I don't know, like maybe the big point was that, you know, the wingbacks were sort of the main issue last season, and Jed Spence is not a convincing upgrade for what we thought was a huge issue last season, Amir.
Yeah, I mean, he's not even Premier League proven. You know, he hasn't played in any of the big leagues. Okay, the Championship is a tough league, and he looked good against Premier League opposition last season in the cup and stuff. But it's still not enough. You know, if you had a Hakimi coming in, if you had someone along those lines, then you'd be a lot more calm going into the season, saying, okay, you know, we're really, really here to challenge. And I do think that we do have to have some trust in Paratici now because of the signings that he's made and the fact that maybe he's using all these Richarlison, Rafinhas, all this Gabriel Jesus. Maybe they're all smoke screens, you know. Maybe he's trying to drive the price up to sell him. Yeah,
smoke screen has become the new hot word of the last 2 weeks.
That's it. But it could be, Sean. It could be. He might have never been interested in Gabriel Jesus. He just wanted to drive the price up a bit, you know.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of games going on here in the background that we're not too aware of.
Yeah, so, that's definitely true. He's probably doing a lot of different games that we're not aware of, and even 100%. Even journalists sort of joke about that when it comes to Paratici. Ellie, are you worried if this were the wingbacks for next season? Are these good enough for you, or do you feel like we need better than this?
Do you know what? I'm coming at it with a different perspective to the lads, right? I'm thinking, right, so Conte's the best coach. We know this, right? Mm-hmm. He's going to have a whole pre-season with that Jed Spence to get him up to scratch. And look what he done with Davis. That was remarkable. How he turned Davis from a pariah who everybody hated. Everybody. I don't think there was one fan that I could talk to who liked Davis in the team. They're all saying, sell him, drop him. Don't let him play another game for Spurs. And last season, he was awesome under Conte. So if he can do that with Davis, what's to say that he can't turn Spence just like that? 100%. A pre-season, give him a chance. Give the lad a chance. We gave Walker a chance. We put him on loan when he wasn't quite up to scratch. But then we didn't have a manager like Conte. So I'm confident in Conte. I'm putting my trust in Conte that he sees something in Jed Spence that we may not see.
That's reasonable, you know? Ellie. But it is a risk, though, right? You have to acknowledge. All of us hope that he's got this. Like, if Conte wants him. So be it, and we wish the guy the best. But it's a massive punt on the man, right? He's never done it.
I acknowledge, but the last time we took a risk on Walker, it paid off for us because he was awesome. True. Yeah, but we have to get somebody else as well to give him competition. Because at the moment, we're not going to give him any competition. He's going to go straight into the team if we don't get anybody else. Because Doherty... that injury he's got, that's a bad injury. And he's going to come back from that. And he's not even going to be ready for the start of the season anyway.
Apparently, though, he's back in first team training on tomorrow, Monday.
There's a big difference from first team training. Take it from me, because I used to play football. First team training to play in actual matches. Yeah. Because you're going to have all the physicality of a full 90-minute match. That's a lot harder, Sean.
Getting back
to training. Sure. Yeah, but having said that, Doherty was good in the last 5 or 6 games. He started to show because he's a right wing back. He was being played out of position. Yeah. So let's see how it goes. But I still feel that we need somebody else as well, just to give those two competition, right? And
Emerson, no more Emerson for you, Ellie.
He's a funny one, isn't he? He splits the fans half. And
Jack, I was disagreeing with Jack. Well, I was one side of Emerson. He was the other all season, and now we're like, We've got 50-50 inversion.
Do you know what? He's such an infectious lad. When he scored that goal against Brighton, which was a bit of a fluke, and he went on a run. Look, I've arrived. But he was fantastic against Arsenal and fantastic against Liverpool. And he went on a roam. I think Conte realises that he's not the best right wing back. So he's saying to him, come inside, do a bit something
I think
different.
he did tell him to do something different by the looks of it.
Yes.
And by the looks of it, Jed Spence, though, I think what we can all say that he seems to be an exceptional dribbler by the looks of it, and maybe that's the one thing all of the wingbacks probably lacked was that sort of, tendency to take it past their man. Like we just said, Emerson had to take it inside every single time. Like he could, never for his life, take it around somebody on the outside. Same probably kind of went for Sessegnon. I don't really remember too many times Sessegnon, skinning past his man, really either. Reguilon, never really. Yeah, Reguilon doesn't dribble past his guy. He has to,
Reguilon does it more than you think, though.
Maybe more than you think. He uses probably a bit of pace in order to do it. But
he's like a touch and run, isn't he? You never see him do like a dribble. He's
that's
like
what Jed Spence brings, though, is that that ability to just sincerely just take on his guy and just dribble past his man and put in the ball. And perhaps that's what we've been looking for the whole time. Maybe that's what really is important to Conte, Ellie, is just a wing back that can just skin his guy time after time.
Yeah, Reguilon reminds me of Peter Taylor. You guys are too young for that. Maybe Sean's even too young for that. Peter Taylor, in the early 80s and late 70s, right? He used to push the ball like Reguilon and then just pelt it and beat his man with pace. See, Reguilon's not an intelligent footballer in my book. He lacks a bit of composure. Yeah. Well, a lot of composure in front of goal he lacks. We know that because he's had so many chances to score and he's muffed them all, right? So I think we need improvement on that side as well. We've got Perisic, but how many games can Perisic play at 33? I know he's super fit, but this is a harder league. And we've got the Champions League and the Cup competitions on top of that. So, I think Reguilon's better than Sessegnon, though. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah,
I like him a lot
Reggie
more.
Over Sess,
He's more exciting to watch. Sessegnon, he lacks confidence.
Yeah, he does lack confidence.
He never takes on his man. He's a bit like Chorluka used to do. He used to check and pass it inside because he's scared of losing the ball. Maybe Conte can work with him. I know that he's been working on his strength, which is a good thing. There's some videos, you should watch them, guys. They're fantastic.
These youngins don't know, Ellie. We're not educated on the Peter Taylor ways. You need to educate us.
You see, Peter Taylor.
Chorluka, though, Ellie, was a fantastic example. I totally agree with you. Chorluka and Sessegnon are quite similar in that regard. 100%.
They're very similar.
Yeah.
Chorluka was more like a centre back, really, anyway, right?
But what I like about Sessegnon, guys, he can defend. He can defend. He's a very clever player defensively, and he keeps his mind. He keeps his distance from the man, and he knows when to go in. Yeah.
He's better in the one-on-one situations than Reguilon. I think he's better in the one-on-one situations, Ellie.
Yes, he definitely is.
Defending-wise, I mean, he put Salah in his pocket, so quite easy, for
not just Salah. He put Saka in his
I like Moondog.
That's right. He had a whole pound.
Like a kid who goes around picking up conkers when they're like 8 years old. And like, that's a good one. I put that up in their pocket, and then someone else has gone and found the biggest
Pokemon
conkers.
Cards.
Pokemon cards
for Salah.
There's quite a few world-class right-wing forwards that are still trying to scramble out of Sessegnon short pockets.
Absolutely. But I'm sorry, Moondog. Ellie's going to have to give us a big education lesson on the ways of Peter Taylor, and so will you, Moondog.
He's a very good player.
I do apologize. He
was a fan's favourite, by the way.
The wisdom of the panel is, not as strong, on this one, Moondog. The beauty was there, like you said. The beauty was there, but maybe the wisdom not so much. He says, I don't want Spence. I really don't rate him. Amir, I don't know. Why do you think maybe people don't rate Spence? Like, even if you're not in Moondog's, sort of camp, maybe come from his perspective here. Where is like the Spence, skepticism come from? Is it really just the fact that he's not Premier League proven, or is there maybe something else?
It's not just that, Jack. We're a top four side now, competing in the Champions League, hunting down trophies. Is Jed Spence going to be the answer to all your problems? Probably not. If we were in a different position and we were a mid-table club and we were looking to push on into Europe, you might say, yeah, I'll take a risk on him and I'll bring him in and we'll see how he does in the Premier League. But we're at a different level. So I can understand people that are just saying he's no way near that level at the moment. And, you know, we don't have the time in a year or 2 or 3 to improve him along. We need to get someone in there, buy someone who's proven Champions League experience, who knows what he's going to bring to the club straight away. So I fully understand Moondog and the people that aren't in the Spence camp.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and then just where do you come from in the Sessegnon versus Reguilón camp? Because some people think Reguilón, I kind of agree, more exciting to watch, but the definition of someone who doesn't really finish his dinner, like people are kind of saying, as well, So which one would you rather have? Would you rather have the guy that never gets into the positions and doesn't disappoint you, or the guy that gets into the positions all the time and then disappoints you every time? Which one?
See, it's a tough one. I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna be in the Sessegnon camp because I think Conte can get him to improve. And now with Perisic there, maybe he can learn to beat his player a bit, get the cross in early, and improve the attacking side of his game. And then if we have Perisic and Sessegnon there, covering each other the whole season, I can see that working quite well as long as he stays injury free. That's also a problem that we have with him, is the injuries. But that's a lot to do with, luck as well. And he hasn't had the best of luck. So, if he can get a whole season without any injuries and play a lot and improve, then I think we could see a real player in Sessegnon. I think there's a real player in there. And the fact that he did pocket Salah and, his defensive qualities are there to be seen. We've got a good player in there. And Reggie's he's frustrating, isn't he? Because you can see all the talents there. It's just the dinner's in front of him and he doesn't want to pick up his knife and fork.
He doesn't like it. He doesn't like the dinner that's in front of him. He's a picky eater, Mr. Reguilón. He's a picky eater. But
Bugsy Malone doesn't like her dinner. She waits for my dinner. She waits for scraps of what I got over here. Very picky.
She gets the chances. She just doesn't, she doesn't take
them. Also, lads, you've got to take into consideration the Premiership is the toughest league to play in. So it's a big shock for players that come over from Spain and France in particular. French players
did okay with it, though. I think Reggie made a decent transition for him.
Yeah, but did you see his interview with Leeds United after he'd scored the goal? And he said, because it was the international break, and he said, I'm dead from training. Because Conte got rigorous training. He couldn't cope with the training.
Maybe because Ellie, there was a bit of something happened. Apparently, people are reporting that there's a bit of a rift maybe between Conte and Reguilón. Is that maybe what you think it was? Is maybe Reguilón actually just was the first one to tap out from the Conte training? Maybe he was the first one to tap out.
My source at the club, which is a lady I used to be at Spurs Ladies, she said there's no rift. They all get on, but you don't know because what one person sees, another person might see something different.
Wasn't Reggie one of the party boys that got caught while COVID was going on and whatnot
during the Jose days?
He was.
Yeah, see something like that. I could see something like that really annoying Jose or even Conte as well. You guys are being paid so much top dollar. You've got responsibilities. You're going to have plenty
video games after that, by the looks of it, Reguilón. Maybe he stayed inside, learned his lesson. By the looks of it.
See, Lamella's shithousery wasn't just on the pitch, was it?
Yeah,
he was a party animal as well.
He was not. He was like Robbie Keane. Robbie Keane flying the team out to party in Ireland.
we are gonna transition everybody to the main theme of the show. We discussed Richarlison. We discussed, maybe the most important thing, which was maybe we actually have to talk about those wing backs that we haven't really brought in yet. We discussed that as well, and I think Sean is probably, at this moment in time, he's very worried about, us going from Z to A instead of from A to Z. By the looks of it, we're building.
I'm worried, Jack. A few of my main men, the boys that I absolutely adore. I adore everybody, but there's a couple of people that I absolutely love who come on my show a lot, and in the comments they're saying that Sean's Mr. Negative tonight, that I'm glass half empty, and that I'm a bit of a downer.
I agree with you, Sean. As much as
I'm
I
sorry
do
if
want
that's the case.
Rafinha and Richarlison, I'll jump on that boat with you, just to show you a bit of faith. And
Thanks, man.
I agreed with you because I do want Rafinha and Richarlison. It just makes me lick my lips. It's potentially an upgrade on Kulusevski, which is probably not needed at all. Maybe an upgrade on Kulusevski, but that's what my immediate thought is. And you sort of get enticed by that, because that's what the tabloids are telling you tabloids are telling you that Spurs want Rafinha and Richarlison. And then you're like, okay, I got to make sense of this.
There's consequences, right? Like if you go and buy them, you can't buy somebody else. There's always opportunity.
And that's what we said. Then we realized, oh my gosh, all we have money for left is to buy Jet Spence, for wing back. We spent it all elsewhere. And I agree with you. It feels like maybe we are building the car somewhat backwards. But I don't know. It by the looks of it, I was sort of subscribing to building the car backwards. But what do I know? Maybe but, we are gonna talk about fixing this Tongi situation, and we are gonna try to find our Mr. Tongi Ndombele home. I know everybody's talking about potentially he's headed to Galatasaray. But if you ask
do you want me to get the link for you so you can bring it up?
Yeah, but I was going to actually just ask you, Sean, about Galatasaray. Yeah. I feel like that means, though, we're paying the majority of those wages if he's going to Galatasaray. Like, there's no way Galatasaray are paying even close to, 30% of his wages, I would imagine. Like, it just seems like maybe then the only club that would take him if he's headed to Galatasaray.
Yeah. It kind of is what it is, though, Oh, sorry, go on, Amir. Go on, mate, go.
No, I'm just saying I don't think that's a fit for him at all because he better be careful. If he strolls off the pitch at Galatasaray, one thing doing it at Spurs, it's a whole nother thing doing it over there in Turkey.
It's true.
Good point.
The level of competition, maybe not as high, but the passion is the highest. The passion is the highest.
Yeah.
I mean, they do not play around over there. So I don't
honestly. I would love to be maybe, the TV repairman, in the Galatasaray area, because I bet they're breaking all the TVs when Ndombele goes onto the pitch. Yeah, you're right, Amir.
Gosh.
But Ellie, I feel like if Galatasaray is going after him, that means we're probably paying the majority of those wages, which that's really concerns me. And I don't know. So maybe there is, some validity behind this sort of rumor, but this would be my last resort option for him. This would be my last destination for him, Ellie, because we're about to break down some solutions, for this Tongi situation. And if this is the solution Spurs have found, this is not the solution I would have liked to have come up with, if you ask me.
Do you know what? I think it's a bad move to let him go there. And we're paying 75, 80% of his wages still. I think it's better to... Do you know what? He's laughing all the way to the bank on our backs. Yeah, he is. Isn't he? He's and he will do
all the way. He'll do it all the way down. I don't know how long he's got. 2 more years after this year. Yeah, it's just a £100 million player that played 50 games for Tottenham. Yeah, insane.
I could just imagine him getting a big burro, in Turkey, getting a big burro and smoking it. I've done those idiots who didn't let me play. And sent me over to France to put me out to convalescing. When you're ill and you go convalescing. That's what he was doing in France. He wasn't really playing football, was he? He was just lazing around the pitch. So they've told him to sling his hook. They don't want him.
Yeah,
so now we're stuck with a player who's costing us a fortune.
That's what we're going to break down, Ellie.
Into another transfer.
That's what we're going to break down, because we're going to talk about potentially ripping out the contract, and we're going to get some help from Sean, I think, because I did a bit of numbers, very, very basic math, but it's a lot more expensive than you think. Maybe getting rid of Tongi and Ndombele, ripping up that contract. But Welsh Gal celebrating 5 months as a fan show member, our honorable Welsh Gal, absolute legend. And she's
Welsh Gal.
Big outrage.
She's here every stream as well. Absolute legend. Always with the IPA in hand on top of that, too. Never misses it.
She's brilliant.
Yeah.
In reference to Jet Spence, I want to know why Neil Warnock didn't want him and why he was loaned to Forest. Was it an attitude problem? I feel like I've heard this story, but I don't really have the real facts on this. I do feel like it was something between Neil Warnock and, Jet Spence. Maybe they just didn't get along, but David has told me that Jet Spence is in fact a very hard worker and has sort of had the reputation of being a kid that has worked very hard off the pitch in order to get where he is. But I don't know. Maybe
they had a right back in. Is it Ian Jones?
Isaiah Jones.
Isaiah Jones.
Sorry, yeah, and he's class. It doesn't make a ton of sense for a championship level team to loan out a player like Jed Spence to another championship level team. But maybe it did make sense in as much as now that
they were both
because
good.
of that, they're both good. You don't need both. Middlesbrough are going to now benefit. They could have sold him maybe last summer for $5 million, but now they're going to benefit from it. So maybe everything figures itself out in the end. But Isaiah Jones is a really good, and he played brilliantly against Tottenham when we got dumped out of the FA Cup. He was best player on the pitch in my opinion. So
yeah,
but maybe just like Leicester City have got an abundance of talent at right back. Sometimes teams are just saturated in talent in one position, and both of those players can't play in a different position. Therefore, someone has to be surplus to requirements. And in Middlesbrough's, mind, Jed Spence was the guy who was surplus. That's how I unless there was more to it, but I haven't heard anything about that. So that's how I would take it.
That's how I would take it as well. So there you are, the Welsh gal. But I must say, I feel like there isn't actually a real attitude problem there. I think it's just two conflicting stories. For me, I don't know, the way that he's made this sort of like, very, I don't know, sort of rise from, pretty much nothingness to now a lot of people really know his name. He has to be some sort of hard worker. He has to be a very determined kid, I think, in order to do that. So
that's true. That's very true, Jack. That's very true. And sometimes coaches and relationships in football, people can have it in for you. I can remember having a coach who was just a nightmare, not just with me, but with other players. And, there were just hidden agendas there, really. So I wouldn't read too much into that. And to get to where he is already, he's got to be a hard worker for sure.
Yeah. And I'll give him a gold star, Jack, because he knocked out the Gooners.
Yeah, that's it, Ellie.
We all forgot about that performance.
In my estimation.
We keep forgetting it. We keep remembering, that playoff, the final performance, but we keep forgetting about the Arsenal performance. Absolutely right. You are.
He played fantastic in that game.
Yeah.
I have, everybody, 3 solutions that I think we could potentially go through here for Tongi Ndombele. And the first one I did want to kind of discuss because, actually, no, I did. This is what I just first want to ask. And I do want to go through the whole panel here just to get your quick thoughts. Is he the worst Spurs transfer of all time? And maybe you have to take in consideration the financial part of it, the fact that we are having a very hard time getting rid of this guy, for how much we did spend for him. Is this potentially the worst transfer of all time? Ellie, I'll start with you. Go to Sean and then to Amir.
It's a close one between him and Vincent Janssen, I think. But at least Vincent Janssen, we just sent him out. We sent him to Turkey. I think he ended up at, was it Fenerbahce he went to, I think. So, yeah, it's a close call. But I'd give it to Tongi still because he's got all the talent. Vincent Janssen hasn't got a quarter of his talent. Yeah, he's got all the talent and he's wasted it. It's such a crying shame that somebody with all that talent has wasted it. And not only that, he's skinned us for money, and he's skinned us £200,000
We're not sure if
a
he
week.
wants to keep doing it. He might want to keep doing it, Ellie. We don't know if he's done
He
here.
will do.
Yeah,
he will do because he hasn't got no conscience. The boy, if he did, he would say, right, I'll stay at Lyon. I'll work hard. I'll play good, and I'll get a good transfer to Lyon back to France. Because that's his home at the end of the day. So he felt comfortable there, but he didn't try. I was watching all his games over there, Jack. He was useless, and he lost the ball quite a lot of times because he just didn't care because he knew that Spurs were giving him all that money. And some footballers are like that. They don't love football.
Helder Postiga, the worst of all time. What do you think, Sean?
The worst of all time.
Shocking.
Helder
No,
Postiga,
no. At least he did try, the boy, Postiga.
He tried, yeah. He tried. He only ever hit the post, Ellie. He only ever hit the post.
Yes, he did. He did. But still, Sean, I would still give it to Tongi.
Yeah, I think that's a good pick, Ellie. Sean, is it the worst in your eyes of all time?
For Tottenham?
Yeah, for Tottenham. Yeah, not in general. They've been much worse in general. Lukaku even.
Sean's thinking now.
A lot of people in the chat seem to think so.
Probably, but
recency bias, though, to be fair. As well.
I don't know. I'll go back to the Ukrainian fella that we signed.
Rebrov.
Sergei Rebrov was a proper letdown as well.
Yeah, but he scored against Arsenal as well, Sean.
Yeah.
When we won 1-0.
But Rebrov was like when we signed Ndombele.
Was a letdown.
But Rebrov was like, he was a record signing. I think it cost like 13 million quid at the time. Yeah. But he was all we had. And he let us down, and we had to carry on playing him because we didn't have anyone else.
And
right?
you put all your chips in that basket.
Yeah. And we were like, well, this guy's awful. This guy's nothing like Shevchenko. This guy's Rebrov. It's a different story.
Was it kind of like, it's kind of like Soldado, right? We did put a lot of chips in the Soldado basket, and then it didn't go so well. And it's like, well, I guess we're just going to have to figure this out,
But like, this was like, but Rebrov was like 97, 98. We were like, this was like, oh my God, we've just gone and signed Shevchenko, like the Shevchenko's understudy. And he was so bad, but we didn't have anyone else. With Ndombele, despite the biggest waste of money, but at least it didn't, really set us back or cost us because we had other players that could come in and do a job and like maybe, like step up. Even Harry Winks stepped up occasionally to do a job when Ndombele wasn't doing his thing. With Rebrov, it was a club record and it was big money at the time, and there was nobody. Jack, there was nobody that could come in, so we had to play him week in, week out, knowing full well that he couldn't do anything.
I'll dispute that, Sean. Harry Winks done a job.
No, but I'm saying
we didn't pay for Harry Winks at the end of the day, Ellie. We didn't have to pay for him. We got him for free. Ellie, we got Harry Winks for free.
There was Chris Armstrong, if I'm not mistaken. When we had Sergei Rebrov, we had Chris Armstrong. He was the guy. Or Jonathan Blondell, Stuart Legg saying, like we were in a world of trouble when in terms of failures. I'd say that Rebrov was bigger. In terms of waste of money, probably Ndombele.
Seems like the Rebrov was a bigger letdown by how I'm hearing it for you. That one seems like a bigger letdown. What do you think, Amir? Is it Tongi for you, or Rebrov, Soldado, Postiga? Are there worse ones?
There's so many to choose from.
Yeah, there's so many.
We got a long list of failures, Jack.
Yeah,
I thought this was going to be an easy question. I probably was
be
well
all
mistaken
night.
in thinking that. What do you think, Amir?
They're all terrible in their own way. Janssen, Soldado, the list just goes on and on and on. But I think in terms of like
financially, people are saying it's Ndombele.
Financially and poison chalice of like he's just pure poison. That's Tanguy. That is Tanguy. The attitude was all wrong. The strolling off the pitch, the not trying, the lack of ambition. Even when we saw him in the documentary, his demeanor, it's like he doesn't even want to play football. Like he's not even motivated to be a footballer. So for me, it has to be him at the end of the day. And look, he's still going to suck funds from us. But it looks like for the next couple of seasons, until this contract's done, unfortunately. And he's just going to be one of these journeyman players. He's going to probably end up like Anelka, bouncing around 20 different leagues over his whole career.
No, he's just attached himself to the top piggy bank, and he's just sucking it dry until he can then go someplace else. But we are going to talk, I think, first, and I do want some help from you here, Sean, because I think you've talked about this before, and it is the question of, can you actually rip up Tongi's contract? Because this is sort of everybody's solution. It's like, what do you mean? Just rip him up, just get rid of him, just pay him the rest of his money and just get him out the door. And I don't know, Sean, like when I looked at it, right, I think he's being paid close to around $200K a week. When you kind of calculate that, I think that's around 12 to 13 million, supposedly a year, for the player, 11 million for the year. So that you're playing the kid. This is what I calculated, 30 plus million at least. Immediately,
it was
handing him $30 million. Like that seems absurd.
It was £100 million transfer, Jack. It was
it
was 60 million or 55 million or whatever it was to pay him from Lyon, and then a 5-year deal at 10.6 million quid a year is what 200 grand a week works out to be, and he gets all of that, or his agent or whatever. But that essentially works out to be 110 million pound outlay. And if you were just to say to him right now, like we did with Serge Aurier. But Serge Aurier only had a year left on the contract, right? So, and he wasn't
on astronomical wages.
No, he was probably on 80 grand a week, right? So, still a lot of money. You're still tearing up 4 million quid. But
You can't write him a $30 million check.
But that's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. So,
and that's what people are suggesting, I guess, is we write him a $30 million check. Can you actually do that?
You could do that, and you could even structure it in a way like you would do with a normal transfer. You just pay it off over years. But there's no point, right? Like, he is a talent. If there is somebody, there is somebody out there, whether it's Galatasaray saying we'll pay 50 grand a week, right, and you cover the rest, and you get rid of him for a year, then that's still your pet. That's £2.5 million of his contract. If you literally can't find a buyer anywhere, and I can't believe that that's the case, but if there's literally nobody who wants to touch him with a barge pole, and Galatasaray says we'll take him for a year and we'll pay £2.5 million, then that's better than tearing up the contract, because it's £2.5 million less than you have to pay him yourself, right? And if no one wants him, then you could just make him train with the under-19s. You can do all that stuff. And so for me, like, tearing up the contract, I understand why people are saying it, just kind of get rid of the toxicity. But in reality, he has some value. Like, it's not like he's a bad player. He's just a bad attitude. Somebody somewhere will see some value in him at some point. And it just takes Paratici or Levy or whoever, maybe the new guy that's come in, which we haven't spoken about, Jack. We've signed a whole bunch of new players to help Paratici out, right? So maybe one of those guys knows someone somewhere that will take a chance on Ndombele. But there's no point. There's no point in tearing up the contract. I'd be amazed if he were to do that. I'd be amazed. It would make no sense.
Levy would never do that anyway, Sean, would he? Levy would never give up.
I don't think it's ever even been done before in sports, because, like I just said, Amir, that sounds pretty incredible to just hand a guy. Even like how Sean said, maybe you could structure it, but still, like, essentially, you're just handing the guy $30 million to not play football for you. Like, that sounds incredible. Like, that. Imagine being that good and that bad at your job that someone would pay you $30 million upright to not work for them any longer. That would be insane.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It seems like something that doesn't happen.
Crazy.
So Ellie, does this seem like, at the end of the day, though, this is a solution that's on the cards? This is probably the least likely one that we probably would take, I assume.
Yeah, what I would do if I was Paratici, I would be getting all the fantastic reels that we've got of Ndombele and trying to get somebody to buy him. You know, like, if we make half the money back that we paid out on him, that would be good business, because we can use that towards the player that we want. You know, I agree with Sean, ripping up his contract now. It's something that we should do, really, but it doesn't make financial sense. So, and I can't see, like Amir said, I can't see us doing that. We've got to get him off our books. And look, he's a talented footballer. It's just his attitude. Like, when we're selling him, we've got to sell him at the highest point. We've got to show them that, look, this is you've got a player. You're buying a very, very good player. It's just his attitude. I'm sure Paratici and Levy can do something there, especially Levy. He's a fantastic businessman. You know, for all his faults, he is a very, very shrewd person at getting a deal over the line. And I'm sure they'll be pushing that one.
Maybe we just get Romero to intimidate him, Ellie. That's what some people are saying. You know, just get Romero to do the contract negotiations.
Oh my God. I think Romero will kill him.
Do it, maybe. I know he's actually supposed to be training on his own, Tongi. But what if instead of training on his own, you know how they give you usually a lot of like training partners for the day? What if they just had Romero as his training partner for every single day of training?
This is what I don't get, Jack. Right?
Made him want to leave.
He was very, very popular when Jose was in charge. Everybody was raving about how hard a trainer he was, but he wasn't putting that onto the pitch. They said he was fantastic in training.
I think he was like with the skills. I think he was like with the skills. Like, he could just do whatever he wanted. Like, he's the best five-a-side player probably of all time, potentially. You know, Tongi Ndombele. But
he was well liked as well. That's what I don't get. He was very well liked.
Big Boss Man was saying, Ellie, that we're forgetting about his Jose days. Big Boss Man is saying that he might not be the worst transfer of all time, because the Jose days were actually quite decent, you know, for Ndombele.
Yeah, when he first started and he scored that goal against Aston Villa, we thought we got a player. We remember when early doors, Jack, when we were saying he was dropping his shoulder. You called me Tongi Ndombele as well. We thought we had the player there.
We did.
I've soon dropped that, didn't I? Yeah, but there is a player there. You know, he's not the worst. He's a very, very good player. It's just his attitude stinks.
So maybe Ellie, maybe it's up
the contract. Sorry.
Oh yeah, sorry, Jack. No, I was just gonna say maybe it's on him now to motivate himself and say, okay, I've had this stumbling block of a failure at Spurs. Now he needs to find a place that will suit him, a league that will suit him, a team that will suit him, a type of play that will suit him, and maybe he can reignite his career. Because the talent is definitely there, right? It's in the legs.
Yeah.
It's not in the brain. His issues are in his brain, in his attitude, into how he's thinking about things. So who knows? Maybe he could work on himself and find himself kickstart his career somewhere else.
That's too hopeful of an answer.
He's still relatively young as well, isn't
he? It's very hopeful. I know it's very hopeful. We live in hope out here, Jack. We live in hope.
I'm not liking that.
24?
That seems too easy. Too easy of a solution there, Amir.
How old is Ndombele? 24, 25?
Yeah, he's young.
25.
He's still young.
Yeah, he's a young fella.
I have another solution here for you guys, and Amir, kind of let me know what you think of this one. We could, in fact, what if you actually offered Tongi up for basically free, in the sense that it would be like a transfer, but essentially it's, for no actual transfer fee whatsoever. The only maybe problem with this is that he would then, have maybe all the clubs in the world to choose from that want to, take him. But that means then he's not probably getting the wages anymore that he's guaranteed from Spurs. So the real question is that if you did ask Tongi, listen, Tongi, we'll send you to any club that you want. It's just that you're not going to get 200K a week, anymore, probably from that club or from us any longer. Do you think you would take that option, Amir? Because this is, in a polite way, I'm basically asking, does he maybe want the money more than he wants to play football?
Yeah, if I was running things, I might consider that. Yeah, I might just cut my loss and send him off for free. But we've got Mr. Levy in charge, so that word just scares him right there off the bat when you're losing a player like him.
This is more for Tongi. I actually think this is more Tongi's decision. I think Levy would take this solution, like if it was available, because you're essentially getting rid of him off the books. But the problem is like, does Tongi take it? Because Tongi is there. He's going to probably, I don't know, let's say Marseille or like a Lazio come in. They're going to be offering him like 90K a week, something like that. Does he take that, to play football, or does he stick with Spurs and, ride out the 200K a week, for the rest of his time? That's what I'm basically asking.
You'd hope he would take the 90K, wouldn't you? You'd hope that he would, but there's no telling.
Does he want to play football? Does he want to play football even?
He might not. He might not. He might just be one of these David Bentley.
He's an Asuakoto, maybe.
Yeah, Asuakoto. They don't even like playing football. They're just talented at it, and that's what they're good at. I really don't know. I just can't see us giving him away for free after spending so much money on him. How much was he? He was around 50-something million.
Yeah. Or as Sean even just described, after all the add-ons, all the agent fees and everything, more or less have really spent, or even all the wages that we've so far paid him.
100 million quid.
100 million quid.
I mean, whoever was involved in that deal behind the scenes, they need to be sent off to like St. Helena, like Napoleon or something, and just left on an island, because that's insane on a player like that to go that far backwards. It's really terrible behavior by our club.
What do you make of my solution here, Sean? Do you think this is a reasonable solution? Like, could you actually say to Tongi, listen, you have all the clubs in the world to choose from. It's just you're not going to get that 200K sweet check, anymore from us. Do you think Tongi is the sort of player to take it so that he can play football again? Or does he really care? No. Does he just
I think I genuinely think that he will run down this contract, and you might never see him play again. I think he will. I think he might just go 100 million quid or 50 million quid, whatever he's got in the bank account at the end of that 5-year deal, whatever he's got left after all the burgers and everything that he's bought. I think he might just kind of go, "I'm good, bro." I'm good.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a lot of American football players that have done it, that they got signed in the draft. A lot of basketball players that have done it. They get signed in the draft, and then they just go. They do their first contract. Maybe that's not the big one. Maybe they get the big one, and they just go, "Fucking, I am good. I'm good, bro." Yeah. And I think Ndombele might be one of those guys. I don't think you'll ever see him playing in a major tournament, a semi-final, a final. I just think he's someone who's just like, I don't know. Wherever listen, I've got no idea what's going on in the guy's head, but I feel like he's an unhappy person generally. Like, you've got everything. The guy's got everything going for him, everything in the world, right? He's young, he's healthy, I imagine. He's playing, doing whatever, like
being paid $200K a week.
and not only is he getting paid more than 99.9% of people in the world, he's getting paid to do something that 99.9% of people in the world would do for free if they had their bills paid for, and he's still just generally unhappy. I just think the guy probably is, maybe he needs a psychologist, maybe he needs a therapist, maybe there's something going on in his background or his history, something happened to him. Who knows? We're speculating, but generally speaking, I just think the guy is just, he hasn't got whatever it requires up here. He's got everything down there, everything around here to be able to be an absolute superstar, but it takes all sorts, man. And I just think that he's not someone that's going to be it. So I wouldn't be surprised if he just went, no, thank you, Levy. No, thank you, Paratici. I'm good. You can send me on loan maybe, but either way, I'm getting my $200,000 a week, and I just don't give a flying fuck. I'm going to run my contract down, and then I'm going to go and sit on the beach somewhere for the rest of my life. And if that's what he wants, then so be it.
We do forget that these sort of people exist in a lot of facets of life. I mean, I'll be honest, there are people who work an everyday job, and they just, it's not their favorite thing in the world to do. And as much as I agree with you, Sean, Tongi probably is the last person in the world who can probably complain, about maybe his situation. Maybe you're right. Maybe he really just doesn't enjoy football anymore. Maybe he just, has fell out of love with the game, sort of thing. And that does happen to people. And Ellie, do you feel like that's sort of the case here with, Tongi? Maybe he's fell out of love with football, and maybe that's why he's not so excited to make a move.
I don't know what's going on in his head. But as an ex-footballer myself, I just don't understand it, because if you love football, you would give your all to the game. And I don't know, there must be something wrong psychologically there.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to give 100%, does he? He doesn't even give 50%.
No.
So there must be something going on in his mind or in his life privately that's got that block on him. Because when he first came, Jack, we loved him, didn't we? And he showed all the potential that he's going to be a star player for us. And then it just went all away. It's hard to put your finger on it, because we don't know what's going on in his head, But if I was his mum, I would say, look, you've got everything in front of you. You could be a world star with the talent that you've got. Don't waste it. Because you'll look back on your career, because a footballer's career is very short. Yeah, if you get 12, 13 years, you're lucky, right?
Yeah.
So,
it'd be interesting to see.
He doesn't pick many injuries up. So, maybe, when he was dropped for that League Cup final as well, that couldn't have done him any good. Because Mason came in and he dropped him.
Ellie, if he was professional, though, he would have taken that on the chin and then fought extra 200 times more to be in the squad. And like you said, it's a psychological problem.
Did they? They didn't think he deserved the place in the team, and they put Winks there. But most fans were saying, "Oh my God, we're playing Winks over Ndombele." A lot of fans were saying that. Yeah. Because despite all his faults, he is a better footballer than Winks, and he would have given us more of a chance in that League Cup final. So I think he down tools a lot. It's not just that one period just before the League Cup final. He was down in tools way before then. Yeah. So a lot of managers they don't like that, and Conte wouldn't stand for it. So he was out. He's been out the door with Conte for a long time now.
Yeah,
and maybe that's hit his confidence. But the thing is, you come back with a fighting spirit. If you're a proper footballer and you love playing football, you come back with that fighting spirit to prove everybody wrong.
Absolutely.
100%,
Do you mind switching back? Also, Ellie, do you mind switching back to the headphones potentially? If you wouldn't mind that, just for quick.
Because my battery was going to die, so I'm going to switch back to the headphones.
I apologize.
Okay.
But I mean, I think, it sounds like, giving him away for free is potentially also not going to work because, when you do, maybe have a player that, isn't that inclined, to play much football. Sort of, you sound great, Ellie. You sound great.
Great,
when
Ellie.
you have when you have someone that doesn't even want to play football, guys. I mean, that means then you can't really convince them to just go to whatever football club of their choice. I mean, they're just going to sit here and take the wages until the wages are done. So it's kind of a tough situation to be in, I'll be honest. But we do have a super chat in here for Paul making his statement clear. I don't know if I even have to read it aloud, Paul, but getting your point across, my man, like you were yesterday on the case of Levy, Paul. And I must say, I appreciate it, my man. When it comes to super chats, you speak with your chest, Paul. You absolutely speak with your chest, and I do appreciate it, my man. But I don't know. I think I kind of have a certain part of me that I want to agree with Big Boss Man in the chat with. I did kind of try to give Tongi all the sort of, I don't know, all the love, all the hope, all the the praise that he needed to do well, and he sort of kind of just chewed it up and spit it back in my face. It kind of felt like, at times, and I feel a bit betrayed, if you ask me, Paul, when it comes to Tongi Ndombele, because I did try to show that guy the benefit of the doubt, a lot when it came to him as a footballer, and it just felt like he never really, paid me any sort of, service in return, for showing him that faith. And so a lot of us felt really let down by the guy. William Kelly.
He didn't respect the shirt. He didn't respect the shirt, Jack. No. Sorry to cut you off. He just didn't respect the fans or the shirt.
I think he did it on two separate occasions, I think, as well, where he
that
made
Morecambe game.
The Morecambe. I think there was another occasion as well that I think I'm forgetting as well that he didn't put himself in good light. William Kelly saying, "Send him out here to me in the outback. I'll dispose of him pretty quick for a small fee." It seems like everybody is asking, to do it. Everybody wants to be a good Samaritan when it comes to the Tongi situation. It seems like Daniel Levy is ignoring all of their solutions. And like William Kelly, I think Patty Higgins, sent in a similar suggestion. Just turns out HR, at Tottenham decided to, turn down that solution.
I love William Kelly. So funny.
That one might not work out. We'll come up with others, though. Good to see you in here, my man. And do tell me if Luke is doing okay. We haven't seen Luke in a while, my man. Big up William Kelly. Hope to have you on the fan show too soon, brother. Big up. William.
Yes.
But guys, last sort of solution here when it comes to Tongi, and it is sort of maybe the most reasonable one. And it basically is the idea of what if we just loaned him, like we're talking with the Galatasaray situation. We loaned him one more season, continue to pay the majority of the wages for him, and then rip up the contract. Sean, is that possible? Loan him one more season, then rip up the contract. Then maybe, find a way to get rid of the guy. Is that, maybe possible? Could you just wait one more season and then rip up the contract?
Well, there's no point in doing that either. Just loan. There'll always be someone that will pay 10 grand a week if that's what it comes to, right? Just keep loaning them out. There's no point in it. There's no.
You'll save 5 million.
If you're saving $1 million here, $2 million there, it's still better than ripping it up. Like, why let that guy get all of his money now and then go and sit on the beach? At least make him come and train every day somewhere for the rest of this. Of his contract. Jack, before I hand you over to the other guys, just quickly, have you seen on the Spurs Express? I know they're not a tier anything, but Tottenham Hotspur have inquired for RB Leipzig central defender Josko Gvardiol.
Oh my lord! That's actually absurd. That's never actually been happening. It's only been in the tabloids that we want him, but have we actually inquired? That's actually.
And they're quoting some guy called Nabil Dejelit, who is a French football journalist who's got 406,000 followers. That's like Fabrizio. No, it's not quite Fabrizio Romano stuff, but it's still pretty decent. And that guy's saying it, as is GFFN.
Yeah, Get French Football News. They actually have a very smart kid that does work for them. So French Football News it's somewhat, reputable. It's more of just like a news source for French football, and it's just like a place where you find stats and stuff on players, but very interesting. I'm not sure why we're getting it via Get French Football News when it is a German club with a Croatian defender. But everybody, Josko Gvardiol, perhaps Spurs are getting their second choice after all. No settling for
I just want to restore myself amongst the comments as being glass half full once again, because earlier on I was considered being a little bit too negative. I think at Gvardiol, that for me is the £100 million signing. That's where I want to see us spend it. Go get that guy. Then you got the centre backs. We're never going to concede a goal ever again. If we get Gvardiol and Emerson, if we score a goal, we're going to win. We're never, ever, ever going to lose a game. We get those guys in.
Absolutely. Chase Mullins with the super chat saying, "Big up, everyone! Glad to see a great panel tonight. Seen where we've just inquired for Gvardiol. Thoughts? It will be a stretch, but who knows? Would definitely be a huge signing. What I can tell you, Chase, is you could basically put this up as almost the first or second preference for most Spurs fans. I think everybody has kind of put their allegiance either with Gvardiol or Bastoni. Almost everyone, I think, is happy with either or. It's not as heated between the Rafinha and Richarlison camps. I think the Gvardiol and the Gvardiol and the Bastoni lovers have mutual respect. I think for each other. I think nobody's losing a tear, or nobody's losing a tear if they get Gvardiol. Chase, I think we're all happy with it. In fact, some people have gone as far to rate Gvardiol higher than Bastoni, maybe because he's younger, might be a bit better on the ball. I don't know. Just some people even rate him not highly, Chase. So this could be absolutely huge, like you said. Ellie, maybe instead of Bastoni, I know you wanted Bastoni, Ellie, but we're getting the Croatian, maybe our second choice. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I've been watching him as well. He's fantastic. He's brilliant, and he can bring the ball out as well. He's a very good baller. Awesome. It'll be a good acquisition to our defence. Yeah, so if we can get that one over the line, I've got a thumbs up for it.
Big time.
Are you a Gvardiol lover there, Amir? Like, do you feel like maybe Bastoni? I'm not sure if he was your first choice, but a lot of people, like I said, almost preferred Gvardiol over this guy.
Yeah, he's along the marquee signings that I want to see. If this is true and we've made an inquiry and this could potentially be a signing for us, I'd love to see him come in before the preseason so I can go grab a look at him up in Haifa on the 30th of July. So, I want to. That's what I want to see. It's someone like Gvardiol, someone like a Bastoni, someone like a Kostic. Then my jitters are gonna go, and I'm gonna be, looking very, very positively into the next few signings and the
Amir, let me ask you a question, man. Would you rather have Josip Gvardiol as one signing, or no Gvardiol and Richarlison and Rafinha?
Gvardiol all day long, Sean. All day long. Honestly,
he wants the car to drive. He doesn't want.
I want it to go. Yeah, we need to get from A to B, Jack. We need. Okay, we're at A, where there's no trophies, no silverware for too long at our club. We need to get to B, and for me, Gvardiol will bring us quicker to B than Rafinha and Richarlison, who. It's a question whether they'd even get into the first 11, to be honest. They're going to be battling for their place. Okay, Rafinha's fantastic, but Kulu came in, was scoring goals, assisting. He was like a magic man, Kulusevski. So, I really think we need to make that defense solid and then look at bringing in some additions in the attacking.
You and Sean are looking at, what type of engine can I get for my car? You guys are looking at the wheels. I'm still trying to pick out the leather seats. But I don't know.
Well, let's hope we can all be happy, Jack. Let's hope we can all be happy and we'll have one of these pimp my ride type of vehicles.
Yeah, we need to pimp my ride. That's what we're looking for. Paratici to pimp the ride. That's what we're looking for.
Pimpourteam.com.
Yeah, Sean, just quickly, you have done a lot of these huge stat comparisons, on the left side at center backs. Do you feel like you still preferred Bastoni after your research, or did Gvardiol maybe surprise you?
No, Gvardiol was number one or number two on every meaningful stat. Number two was Clement Lenglet. But I know Lenglet's got his own problems. He's got injury problems, and also his demeanor might be a bit in question because after what happened to him at Barcelona. But Bastoni was third He was basically third or second. He was very good at everything, but Gvardiol, for every meaningful stat, was excellent. Lenglet was very good in most, and a few he wasn't so good. Botman was excellent at a few things, and then a bit average at everything else. And then you go from there, you go down to like Pau Torres, Ben Davies, etc. else. But for me, Gvardiol was just out of this world. He was creme de la creme at everything. So, and he's 20. Yeah. I don't think it's. I think it's entirely unlikely because he's just signed a 5-year contract. So
that's
it would cost a fortune. It would cost a fortune. But if we're going to do a marquee signing and it's not a right wing back, make it him.
I've also, to give people hope, you know me, love to give people more, unneeded hope, especially in this, situation. But Darius and I had a conversation in the past, though, that despite maybe him signing for Leipzig only last season, you have to admit that Leipzig have such a good scouting department that they can sort of replace these Gvardiol-like players, like almost with the snap of a hand. It's almost like they actually have like the Gvardiol there waiting, the next Gvardiol in line, just waiting when they buy him. People, I think he even said that with Nkunku, they're just waiting to sell Nkunku. Then, they'll find a new Nkunku, replacement. They're just that sort of, club, and they can just replace these, phenoms, so easily. And so sometimes you don't really have to pay too much, because they might be able to just replace the guy quite easily. And that's what those sort of clubs do anyway. They kind of just churn profit from just those sort of player sales. So I don't know. It's possible, Chase. It's possible, my man. And he says, Agent Perisic incoming, only 20 years of age as well. A huge building block, perfect for Conte as the left-sided center back. I hope Agent Perisic is doing some work behind the scenes, my man. And Gvardiol has actually come into the Croatian national team, I think at like 18 or 19 years old as well. And I think we all know that's not an easy national team to break into, especially right now. I think it's, certainly not easy. Maybe the defense, you could say, one of the better areas to break into, but still, this is, a World Cup final, sort of, a caliber team. This is a team that has one of the best midfields, you could probably say, in the world, even a better midfield than England's, a better midfield than Germany's. So I don't know. Croatia is a crazy team to break into, even as a teenager, I would say too, Chase. So honestly, I'm looking forward to see what Agent Perisic is doing. Even the other day, though, Chase, I must say, not only Agent Perisic, Agent Emerson was actually doing some work. Because he was seen at the club actually with Richarlison, and they took a big selfie together. So who knows? Maybe Agent Emerson is doing some things behind the scene there as well. Hollywood Hotspur says we could play with a back four with Gvardiol and Cuti Romero as well.
That's a good point.
What about that?
Very good point.
Then maybe Dyer and Ben Davies, come in, and kind of rotate. But I don't know. This is the problem. I guess we've sort of married ourselves to the back three, Hollywood Hotspur, because that is where, Conte has his most success. But, Antonio Conte, as much as we want him to last forever, he might not last forever. Gvardiol is so young, and Cuti Romero is so young that who knows, guys, maybe this might be in a back four sometime in the future, 5 years from now. This could be a back four. That'd be kind of crazy. That would be pretty crazy. Alrighty,
have you?
Hollywood Hotspur.
Just want to quickly call out Bobby Singh. It's just text me from. He said more news, more breaking news for you, Jack. If you don't mind me dropping it.
No, please.
United at UTD District, which is a verified Manchester United account, I imagine, on Twitter, are saying Arsenal have already had a £25 million inquiry for Lisandro Martinez turned down, while United were planning on paying around 30 million quid. Martinez wants to come to the Premier League, but fears Ajax are pricing him out of a move. How do you guys feel about Lisandro Martinez? Is that someone that you take? He's a good left-sided centre-back as well. Arsenal are after him, United are after him. If we fail with Gvardiol, would you go after him?
Here's my one reservation that I have to just get out of the way. I think he's like 5'7".
Yeah, he is, isn't he? Yeah, he's tiny, isn't he? Yeah,
he's tiny. And you do wonder, we all talk about like players like Jules Koundé, like we're a bit on that smaller side, can they make that step up? At the end of the day, like Jules Koundé is like 6 feet or 6'1" or like something like that, 5'11", like 5'7" seems, it seems a bit small, for a center back. And
What he 75. He's
to get to the positives though, like what he would bring is really good, ball ability. Like he can ping passes left and right. He can carry the ball really well. He's obviously a bit quicker than your average center back. Can move the ball a bit quicker than your average center back might. Maybe not so slow on the ball. Maybe like someone like say maybe an Eric Dyer could be. So there could be some positives with Lisandro Martinez, but I don't know, Sean. For me, the aerial ability of our center backs has been a big question. Even Romero's aerial ability has been questioned at times. So Lisandro Martinez might not help us out in that regard. But I think he might be a friend of Romero too, which could be help. Nahuel Molina and Romero get part of that Argentinian national team over here. Get Lo Celso out the door. I'd take that any day. Day. There you are, Hollywood Hotspur, my man. But I don't know. At Spurs Express, apparently we've accepted Galatasaray's loan option to buy for Tongi Ndombele. So perhaps they've even figured out a situation for us. And we are kind of reaching the end of the show anyway here, lads, because we kind of did, more or less figure out, the situation with Tongi. We basically said that with Tongi, you could rip up the contract, too expensive. You could send him out on loan or you could send him out on a free. But is he really going to take that because he wants those wages? I think what we're going to do is practically just loan him, to death until, eventually we have, until, his contract more or less runs out, or we can, probably feasibly rip up the contract until it's actually feasible to rip up the contract. So I don't know. It looks like we're just going to be loaning him to death. And Galatasaray might be his destination with a loan option to buy. This will be the last question for the whole panel here. Ellie, loan option to buy Galatasaray. I don't see Galatasaray buying him at the end of the day.
No, they won't. But they won't be able to afford to buy him either, because they're not that richer club, So no, I think loan him and pay half his wages. That's the best we can get out of him, really.
Yeah.
If they're willing to pay half, we'll pay half.
Blood from a stone, right, Ellie? Just trying to squeeze whatever we can out of it and see if we can draw a little bit of juice.
That's a good way to put it, Sean. Yeah.
Oh, it's a very disappointing one.
Galatasaray, how do you see this loan going for Tongi, Sean? Is it just going to be the most boring loan of all time? Is he going to, wow the fans in Turkey and somehow they're going to find the money to buy him? I mean, how do you see this going?
I don't know. Amir made a really good point, mate, about the fans not tolerating if he was to be subbed and just decide to walk off slowly. I think they'd throw, all of the kebabs from the stand at him, right?
They throw the skewers.
They throw the skewers first. They'd figure out a way to like elastic bands and skewers and straight through. But but listen, but at the same time, if he was to go there and turn it on, I honestly don't know what the Turkish league. I'd be speculating or just lying to you if I knew what quality is week in, week out in the Turkish league. So maybe he's just that good that he could just, work at 30% pace and just be an absolute dream there. Who knows? But the fact that the French league didn't want him, the fact that they didn't want him back, it says something. Listen, whatever, man. Like he's never going to play for Tottenham again. I think you have to write if you're Daniel Levy, you essentially write down the investment to zero. There's tax. There's benefits in the way that you could write down your tax liabilities on your assets by writing them down to zero, even if you get a couple of million back in your in salaries and stuff. But as much as on a personal level, I wish him well. I hope he's happy, whatever he does. He's been an absolute disgrace, and so the quicker we can get him out of Tottenham Hotspur, the better. I just don't agree that writing his contract down to zero is the best way to do it, or even a viable thing to do.
I agree with you there. Everybody, Ellie, I think the reason she's just popping off is just because she has, I think that the phone is running out of power. We're timing it well around the 2-hour mark, and it seems like the phone couldn't last the full 2 hours, which is a shame. But this is her Twitter, everybody. Do check out Ellie's Twitter. And also she recently was on the Three Spurs Boys doing the Ladies Night with Kirsten and Ellie.
Big up Bobby K
as well. Check out the Three Spurs Boys as well. Bobby K. I didn't even see Bobby K in the chat. Oh, there it is. Perfect timing then. There you are, Bobby K. Yeah, there he is. I was just trying to find something to plug for Ellie. So everybody show Ellie the support she deserves, as well as Bobby K and the Three Spurs Boys. But Galatasaray, for me, guys, I just don't see that going well. I actually think Amir brings up a really good point. While the Super League, the real Super League, may be, probably not the best when it comes to talent, I probably would say those fans might be more religious when it comes to football than even, the English are, or the Germans are, or anybody. The Turkish, I mean, they really take their football seriously there. And even if the quality isn't very high for me, Amir, I think, they at least know when a guy isn't giving his all. And they can probably tell when a guy isn't giving his all. And I imagine that with Tongi Ndombele, there might be some worry signs, there when it comes to that, area. And also those derbies are absolutely ruthless. Like, it
They're
seems
crazy.
like those derbies, those players also like put in their all in those absolute derbies. Like, they're almost murdering each other out there. So I'd be worried. I'd be worried for Tongi even just in those games. Like, the referee's not going to give him too much slack. The Super League might not be good for him. It really might not be.
But you know what? For to leave it on a hopeful note, maybe, just maybe, this is the rocket that he needs shoved up his ass, and these fans will get a tune out of him by just absolutely hounding him, and expecting him to come through and do something for their team. So I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful for that guy that he can restart something over there with Galatasaray and do something for them, because the talent is in his legs. It's just his brain that needs working on. And who knows, maybe they've got some great Turkish psychologists, sports psychologists that can work with him out there.
He had his own personal one over here. I don't know how much better it's going to get. But,
yeah. Maybe, but maybe they do something special in the Turkish way, and they can get him in the hammam and maybe scrub off all the the bad vibes that he's had in the hammam and freshen him up for a new look Ndombele. That's what
sounds delicious. That new Ndombele you were talking about. Chase Mullins saying it's definitely going to be a busy week for us. If Conte wanted the signings before the preseason, then we definitely need to get going on these signings. Also, apparently, some agent was at Hotspur Way. It seems like the agents just keep getting into Hotspur Way, and then they're taking their sweet time, Chase, while they're there. They're either
they must like the coffee. They must like the coffee,
yeah, exactly. They like the coffee. They're falling ill, Amir. It seems like, they're just having a nice spa getaway at, the hotel, right nearby. I don't know, Chase, but they're taking their sweet time. We do have 3 signings through the door. They are 3 important signings. I think we still have to admit they are 3 important signings for Antonio Conte, but we need those wing backs and we need those center backs through the door before preseason, Chase. I mean, I trust the Don. I trust that, he's going to get everything, in time for Paratici. He's just serving up multiple courses at the same time. It's the Paratici tasting menu that's happening right now, Chase, and I'm pretty sure he has it all under control. He's just firing up. He's just finished up the appetizers. The main course is happening. He's just in the middle of plating it all. Chase, for you. But I don't know. Like, he doesn't have much time. About what, 2 weeks, guys? 2 weeks until we basically set off.
2 weeks to go to Korea. Yeah.
2
but
weeks.
But I genuinely think that Chase is right. A lot of players have been on holiday. There's probably a lot of work that's been done. I'm not just saying this about Tottenham, but I think that on Monday morning we're going to wake up to a whole bunch of shirts being held up. Tuesday, more shirts being held up. Wednesday, there's a lot of players that it's all done, but they don't want to, they may not want to announce it until the players get to the clubs and then hold the shirt up. So I'm sure you'll see Jesus announced on Monday. Maybe Rafinha, whether he's here, Spurs, Arsenal, Chelsea, wherever he's going. Same with Sterling. I think there's going to be a whole bunch of shirts being held up this week. I think it's going to be the busiest week because everyone's been on holiday and now they're back. And now it's time to get the official announcements done. So I think it's going to be a crazy week for Chase. I agree with you, Chase.
Mm-hmm. And everybody, just want to say, everybody, big up Ellie. Her phone battery did officially die, and I think she has given up. So everybody, I did put it in the chat. Show her the love. Show her the support in the chat. She put in an absolute shift tonight. Absolutely contributed to the conversation, especially when it came to the Tongi solutions. I thought she offered some good ones. And also, came at it with a different angle on Judd Spence, which we appreciate, because we were all, I think, very much on the not so happy about Judd Spence, and she gave a good positive spin on it. But Chase, I must say, I hope these, agents at Hotspur Way, I hope there's actually a long queue of them, and they're actually just waiting, for each signing to get done. They're just looking at the back of each agent, just trying to, get out of there. So hopefully there's just a big queue of agents, that are just signing their players up with Spurs. But yeah, the Don's going to get cooking, my man. Appreciate the support, Chase. Really, really massive as well, my man. Really massive. William Kelly saying the Turkish fans will kill him if he doesn't turn up. They are crazy in that league. Yeah, William, that's pretty much what we've said. Even William Kelly has said, I actually feel like a lot of TVs, will be broken, in the local area, for Galatasaray. If anyone's seen those videos of like one player, I think it was a Fenerbahce, family. One of the players like misses an open goal sitter, and then like all the men just like, just knock the TV off the wall, start like stomping it into the ground, and everything. So I'd be very worried. For the TVs in the local area when Tongi comes into town. William Kelly, I would say hide your TVs because they're definitely getting damaged. But I don't know. Maybe he'll impress. I really doubt it, but maybe he will. Who knows, my man? Appreciate you tuning in, though, William. But everybody, I think we've sort of reached kind of the end of the show here. I'm going to kind of get plug-in on these guys' channels. They put in an absolute ship tonight. We are going to start off with Amir's channel because I think, everybody, we need to get Amir up higher than he probably is. I think he's probably, close to maybe 550, 600? Where are we at these days?
It's getting close to 550 now. I think it's around the 440 mark. So, yeah, it will be amazing to get up to 550. And we've got a lot of things planned, coming up. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, it's great. One of our team members is getting married in like a couple of weeks. So, we've had to kind of delay a few of the upcoming episodes till after the wedding. But we'll all wish him a big congratulations. And what we're trying to do is basically promote peace out here in Israel, and not just out here in Israel and between Arabs and Jews, but the wider reaching community. Unfortunately, there are wars raging: Russia, Ukraine, Ethiopia, Libya, Yemen. I can go on and on. Unfortunately, there's also a war on drugs, which affects many people as well in the UK, in the US with the opioid crisis. So really just about promoting a more peaceful way of living. And it would be fantastic if you came on over and had a little listen to what we're doing. We're trying to unite people and keep the divides for football. Tottenham, Chelsea, Arsenal. That's all good. That's all fun and games.
Fan channels fighting.
Yeah, exactly. Fan channels fighting. That's what we want. Yeah, that's what we want. A bit of fireworks with Alex THFC.
Come on.
Yeah. Get Alex THFC on here. Have some fireworks going on. That's all well and good. As long as people aren't shooting rockets and that kind of stuff at each other, we're living a good life.
Yeah,
so
everybody, as you can tell, Amir, he has very smart football opinions, but you can probably guess he has very smart opinions outside of the world of football. I don't know if I can exactly say that, for David and myself. I think we're pretty good on our football opinions. Might get a bit worse, when you get onto other subjects. But I imagine with Amir, he just gets better and better, if not stronger, when it comes to that sort of, especially when it comes to his channel and all the various things he discusses there. Show Amir the support as well, because he is just a Spurs fan at the end of the day. Every Spurs fan deserves the support. Shawnee, Spurs Talk Show. I know people know about it, but there's always, I think, plenty in the chat, that might, maybe feel like, what? I feel like I've been trying to find Sean's channel and I, maybe just haven't clicked the link yet. So Sean, tell me about Spurs Talk Show. Maybe the streams you've already have done, maybe streams you know that you're about to do. I don't know, but tell us about Spurs Talk Show. Tell us about your channel, my man.
Yeah, my channel's it's become my biggest passion. As kind of sad as that sounds, my biggest passion in life right now. I've absolutely fallen in love with this community. I've fallen in love with talking about Spurs. The channel seems to be growing really quickly. I only started it in December, and we're about to hit 2,000. I think we're about like 100 away from 2,000, which is pretty good for 6 months. And and we go live impromptu, and anything happens. Some days we go live for a couple of hours with the regulation and people that are supposed to be on there. Other days we just see what goes. On Thursday we went live for 6 hours. It was madness. And that's what you can find on my channel. Like, you have a whole bunch of different kind of takes and stances, whether we Levy in, Levy out, whether it's Richarlison in, Richarlison out, whatever. You can find me at Spurs Talk Show on Twitter, on YouTube, and Instagram. But really, YouTube's where I want to focus everyone's attention. If you haven't found me yet, I'd love it if you go over and just hit a subscribe, and then I'll try and win you over a show or two, which we try and be as fun and variety based as possible. Thanks for having me, Jack. And Amir, love your stuff, man. you're doing things far more important than what I'm doing. But yeah, appreciate you guys having me on.
Thank you for coming on, Sean. And also,
thanks for your kind words.
Thank you both. Thank you both for giving up your time, this evening. Thanks for making this, nice, fun, relaxing stream. It's nice to talk about transfers, but it was nice to talk about things outside of, maybe the world of transfers as well, kind of switch gears up a bit. And I think you guys did achieve that today with me. Paul Vanben saying that chef is cooking. Relax, people. That's what I'm telling you, Paul. It's the tasting menu. If you've ever had a tasting menu, Paul, what they do is that they throw like 3 meals right at you, right away. You're all of a sudden, you feel like you're full, like within 15 minutes. Then what they do, they wait, about 45 minutes. They make you get hungry again. Start to look around, maybe wonder, when's the next meal coming? Then he's going to hit you with 3 more, Paul. So that's what I think is going to be happening. It's just the Don. He's cooking. He's just, getting the tasting menu ready. It's just all part of the experience. It's the Paratici Michelin star restaurant. It's all part of the experience. It's all part of the, it's all part of the tactics. Big up, Paul. William Kelly saying, United Ireland needed now. Definitely so.
Good
Definitely
point.
So, William Kelly. Definitely so, brother. And hopefully, I wish David were actually here, probably to represent that answer a bit better for you, William. But I'll definitely pass it on to him. And appreciate the love as well, William Kelly. Appreciate the love, my man. Thank you also for tuning in. But yeah, everybody, we do have tomorrow. We do have, I think, another sort of kind of similar kind of panel show. I think it's going to be Wes and Marcelo joining us. So that could be kind of a bit of a spicy one. It's going to be probably maybe, I don't really know if it's going to be heated. I just know there's going to be the energy, though. We're definitely going to have the energy from those guys. So everybody stay tuned for that one. Smash that notification bell to never miss another one. We do try to put out these streams as far ahead in advance as we can. But if in case it is spontaneous, like, Sean was saying with his, smash that gray notification bell. It's a great way to know that we are live and we are going. Feel free as well to smash that like button on your way out. Thank you so much to everybody who's put in the super chats, who's also, put in the memberships, who's also just smashed the like button. It's a great way to support the channel. We're going to keep going. David is coming back Monday. You can be rest assured there's only one day of dealing with me left. It is tomorrow, the last day. Then David will be back on Monday to join us for the fan show. But that'll be all for now.
You've been fantastic, Jack, by the way. Been absolutely
Yeah.
fantastic, man.
Holding it down for now. Holding it down for now. Holding it down. But everybody,
Brilliant.
Really appreciate you all. Really appreciate support.
And Jack, one more thing, people should go and check out your channel. Honestly, you know, I try and watch all the updates that come through and all the player. It's fantastic, and I love the knowledge coming from across the pond over there in the States on the East Coast, because it's so refreshing. Guys like you and Will, and there's plenty of other American Spurs fans which are really doing a fantastic job breaking down a lot of things that maybe we kind of overlook a little bit, you know, in the community over here. So big yourself up, Jack. Definitely,
guys. Very kind of you guys. Well, I'll thank you guys in the back end for that one. That was very kind of you, Amir. But everybody, we're going to finish off for now. Please subscribe on your way out. Sean, Amir, and I, we will be seeing you. Come on, you Spurs. In Conte, we trust.
Bye.